Hey, we're live. I didn't even do the countdown this time. We're good. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. What's up, everybody? Just chilling tonight. No, not even doing a countdown. That's actually because I pushed the wrong button, but that's fine. We're on cue and we're on time here. What's up, Dusty? How you doing? The best third wheel guy you could have. We were just talking about Dusty feeling like a third wheel on stream in the green room. So what's up, Dusty? How you doing? Carrots, what's up? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? Let me hold on for a minute because I hit the wrong button. So now I gotta. There we go. We gotta pop some music on there. A little bit of background, never hurt. What's up, KG? How you doing, sir? Ready for story time with Uncle Todd? Yeah, man. Just we didn't have an evening alpha tonight, so just wanted to chill, talk, maybe go through some new stuff, answer some questions. If you guys wanna hop on, whatever, it's all good. Just want to chill out with you guys tonight. Willie D, what's up? How you doing? Need some of that lip service. I'm not gonna go there. What's Natasha? What's up? How you doing? Let's go. Uncle Todd's finding his best AF baseball cap. Yeah, I do. I have it over here, but tonight I'm just going to wear the jet black one. It's really hard. It's surprisingly difficult to actually find a jet black baseball hat that doesn't have a logo on it. Like this one. Okay, I'll give you a secret. This one I actually got. I got this in NFT NYC. Someone had some NFT project had put like a bunch of pins in it, with like all their stuff. Like they had just like added flair to it, and I was like, oh, this is awesome, can I have it? And they're like, oh yeah, sure. I was like, awesome, thank you. And so I like just totally like didn't use it. I just took off their flair and now I have a dope ass black hat. Sometimes that's what you got to do. I got my money's worth at NFT NYC. Well, I'm glad you guys are doing well tonight. We're going to go through some news. We're going to talk about a little bit of stuff. Yeah, I want to tell you something. So it's interesting. You guys know that I have two little kids. I've got a 5-year-old and I have a 3-year-old. And they're both starting school and they're starting different schools. So up until now, they've both been in the same daycare, like the same pre-K. And so now my oldest is going to kindergarten, but now kindergarten's like real school, right? Like kindergarten is like the real school. So she hasn't started yet. So kindergarten starts like next week after Labor Day. So we're just chilling. She's here. She's learned about the amazing brilliance that is called Minecraft. She has fallen into the Minecraft funnel. And I think we're about this close to buying a Switch so she can stop watching like all of these ridiculous YouTube videos of Minecraft people, like, oh my god, just so loud and so obnoxious. But to me it's like a 30-year-old making a Minecraft video. To her it's like incredible. I'm like, yeah, this dude's too old. Like, I mean, I get it, he's got a YouTube channel. I just imagine these YouTubers, they might be making millions, but they're like, why do I have to do another Minecraft video? Fuck. It's just like who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but it's pretty funny. Anyway, so my youngest started this new daycare and she's been having some trouble like adjusting. She's a super sweet kid. She's super nice. Oh, you can't hear any of the background music? Dusty's saying he can't hear any of the background music. Can you not hear any of the background music, guys? Let me know. It's on. Here, I'll pump it up a little bit. There we go. Let me know if you can hear that background music, because it's super nice to hear. Anyway, no music? Really? How's that happen? Hold on. It's playing. I hear it in my headphones. I'm going to pump it up higher just so you guys hear it. No music. Super low. There. Okay. So this is good? Tell me if this is good. If it's too loud. So StreamYard, the service that I use, has been like messing. I have noticed they've been messing. Awesome. Now we're chilling. They've been messing with their settings and like they made the volume different. So in my ears, it actually sounds rather loud. But if it sounds good to you guys here, I'll just turn it a little down in my headphones. There we go. Sounds better. Right on. Now we're chilling. So I've got these two little girls, and the youngest is starting kindergarten or this new daycare, and she hasn't been adjusting to it really well. She's actually been having some problems, in part mostly because like she's the sweetest kid on earth. She's a princess. She's literally Elsa from Frozen. She has like she's modeled everything after Disney, so she's just like yes, and she's very dainty with her hands, and she puts things away. She's 3 years old, and when she's done with her plate, she takes it and she tries to put it in the sink, and it's kind of like up here, so she just kind of like dumps it in the sink and breaks dishes, but she doesn't mean to. Anyway, she's the sweetest kid on earth. However, like in the last couple of weeks, she's kind of hit that what we call the three-nager, which is that 3-year-old phase, 2.5 to 4.5, where they just go batshit crazy and they turn into fucking satanic. They just turn evil basically. Let's turn down just a little bit. I'm getting some good feedback from you guys about volume control. There we go. All right. So let me know if that's better on the sound. We'll keep going until we get it right. Anyway, so anyway, she's at this new school, and we got her there in the middle of her three-nager-ness. So she's been kind of a baby bitch, and that's a technical term, baby bitch, which means you love her to death, but they're just like, no, you're not going to tell me that. And then you're just like, you can barely wipe your butt. Like, come on, like just do what we say. Get in the car, do what we, you know how little kids are. Anyway, so we got a report back from the woman, the woman that's kind of in charge of her class, and like, yeah, this kid's misbehaving. She needs to listen more. And we're like, isn't that your job? Like, we're trying to do our best, but we're not there during the day. That's literally why we drop them off at daycare or drop her off. So anyway, long story short, today I go pick her up, and I walk in and I say, and I haven't met this teacher before. I said, hi, are you Miss So-and-so? And she's like, oh yeah. I was like, oh, hey, I'm Todd, great to meet you. She's like, oh, pleasure to meet you too. I said, so how did she do? And she says, oh, she was so much better today. I was like, awesome, because we've been talking to her, we've been coaching her. Just, you got to treat your teachers with respect. You don't want to, just do it for mom and dad. Like, trying to do what we can to suggest, like, to behave in class, basically. And I said, awesome, that sounds so good. And she says, yeah, and we start chit-chatting, kind of breaking the ice stuff. And then she says, anyway, if you could do me a favor. And I said, of course, whatever you need. She says, if you could tell Eva's parents that next week is family week, and we really need a couple of photos of her parents and her, so we can put it on the wall. And I started laughing, and I said, oh, I'm her dad. And she was like, oh. She was like, I'm so sorry we haven't met. And so basically what it boils down to, and I've had this happen a few times, is we had kids a little late, and very, not often, but more than once, people think I'm her grandfather, because I guess I'm old enough to be a grandfather. So I've had, so I'm just putting it out there for all of you who are in your mid 40s. You can still procreate. It's okay. It is okay. You can still do it. It is good for you. Good for you. You can still procreate. You can have children. Dusty says, ooh, Grandpa Todd, new title. Hell no. No, I actually started to play it off because I know it now. I've had it happen a couple times. Because in New York City, like, everybody our age is the ones having kids. We were a little late, but we had a lot of kids that were around our kids' age. Pretty much everywhere else in the country, outside of like big metropolitan cities, we would be grandparents. It's true. So I'm kind of used to it, and now I just kind of spin it as like, oh, you thought I was 17? That's awesome. You just made my day. That's really funny. Ha 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 ha. KG says, haha, I know the feeling. I'm 53 with 12 and 15-year-old girls. Yeah, exactly. And I will be, well, my kids will be, 11. My oldest will be 11 or 12 when I'm 53. So that's about the same boat. Yeah. So it's exactly like that. And I'm like, well, I figure it's just I'm wearing a Spider-Man shirt, so you can consider me like 17. I'll totally take that. It's fine. Everything's good. Anyway, I just wanted to share that because it literally happened today. I was like, you know what? You're never too old. You're never too old. You can just do it. Isn't that what they? Just do it. Take that context for however you choose. Anyway, I've got some good stuff to share with you guys tonight. Let's see what we got. We're gonna go through the news. Check out what's going on in the NFT space. You would think it would be slow, but there's actually a lot of stuff going on. So first and foremost, we have a couple things. So I wanted to let you guys know that we have a contest pinned cut the feed. Dusty says cut the feed. Well, I can't just talk about procreation, like old people procreation. Anyway, we could go. That's a rabbit hole. I don't want to go down too hard. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to cover this today, but you guys should go check out Vitalik's most recent pick. So Vitalik is a very interesting guy. He sometimes gets talked into doing some very odd pictures in pictures when he probably shouldn't. It's a very funny picture, and I highly recommend you go to the twits and look up Vitalik and see his most recent pick. It's pretty darn funny in an endearing way. It's an endearing picture to me. It's very fun. Anyway, so FYI, we're giving away 2 free NFTs. You can enter on YouTube. You can enter on Twitter or both. Read on for details. So what are we going to do? It's been a while since we explored all the happenings in the Web3 space. Oh, wait, that's not even it. What am I even doing here? This is what I get for trying to do this shit live. So we're doing some contests, giveaway alert. You know what? Instead of rating it, I'm just going to push you to the actual post so you guys can read it. It's awesome. Highly recommend you post it to go there and check it out. All you have to do is like, retweet, comment on the pinned tweet, and you will be entered to win. Not sure how long, Dusty, how long is this lasting? Do you know off the top of your head? If so, awesome. If not, I don't know, but it's still there. So as long as it's still here, it's still going on. It'll probably end in a couple of days because we don't want to keep things up too long. So, but go check it out. It's going to be awesome. Trust me, you want a couple of AF NFTs. We have a lot of stuff coming up that's going to involve Adult Fantasy Season 1, which I'm not going to talk about, but if you ever wanted to jump in or get your Adult Fantasy NFT or get another NFT, I highly recommend doing it now. Do your own research, of course. Dusty says, also, you can enter by being a subscriber and commenting on the video in the pinned tweet. There you go. Yeah, we've been working on a lot of stuff, a tremendous amount of stuff in the back end. And I know you guys know that. You can posted something in the announcement today. So much good stuff going on, guys. It's really crazy. Knock on wood, super blessed. I know sometimes it can seem slow, and we're always conscious of that for sure. But there ain't nothing slow going on behind the scenes. So yeah, jump into the giveaway, check it out. You will not regret it, I promise. So I wanted to go through some news. I haven't done this in a while. We're just going to go through the news together. I found a couple of articles. I skimmed through them, and then we can read through them together, and we can check it out. We'll actually see what's going on together, right? Because there are some cool things going on. So first up, I found this tweet post. I like twit post by Renegade Master, and I thought this was fascinating. And I've been out of the loop a little bit on RTFKT, especially since they got sold to Nike. Once a company sells to another brand, I tend to drop interest. That's more of a fault of mine. It's not like there's no reason for it. It's just I'm like, okay, they exited, time to move on to something else. But RTFKT is a pretty awesome project, pretty awesome company. So I saw this, and I'm just going to blow it up, the image, so you can kind of see it better. I said, RTFKT just dropped forging. Nike are geniuses at putting money into their pockets. They have generated over $185 million USD in NFT revenue to date, by far the most of any brand. I do think the overall concept is cool, but it's more money leaving collectors going to Nike. And this person says, then he says, I personally have no interest in spending thousands of dollars on merch during a bear market. The current model is broken from an NFT investor standpoint and something that will eventually break, in my opinion. This goes for most projects, not just RTF KT. What do you think? So one of the things that's really interesting about what RTF KT is doing is this tying in of NFTs and apparel. And we're going to go into it. I'm going to show you guys the launch and kind of what they're working on. But just to get some ideas of what people are thinking behind this, you've got NFT God says, I unfortunately believe this will long-term be the main revenue model in NFTs. No projects are making money off royalties right now. It's not dependable enough. What did I tell you guys? What have I been saying from the very beginning? Like, we don't, like, adult fantasy has from day one never been about secondary. Like, sure, we care about secondary. I mean, and certainly, look, it all helps. But you don't drop an NFT and publicly say that it's not for flippers and that you're not going to know the final value of that NFT for 4 years if you're thinking about secondary sales, right? And so all these companies that were depending on secondary sale volume to survive are now eating shit. Like, they're all eating dirt. Like, they're really hurting right now. So no projects are making money off of royalties right now. It's not dependable enough. Only way to make money in Web3 is dilution, which hurts the project's ecosystem. Need revenue other ways. I don't know about the whole dilution thing. That's not true. In my opinion, I don't think that's accurate. I understand what he's saying, but I don't think that's true. We're seeing some, IE says, we're seeing some NFT platforms extract value instead of ad. I'm watching because there are several models at play right now. And then, you know, some people are upset that it's Nike and stuff like that. Let's see. I was stoked to see forging for clones, but I didn't see the prices of the physicals. Buy an $11,000 NFT to be able to buy a $300 hoodie that people out of the NFT space won't care about. That sounds rough to me. Yeah, that is true, but at the it's pretty funny. That is true, but at the same time, you know, you can't ever, especially for certain projects or certain brands, you can't ever doubt or put off the attraction of flexing within a community or a group. You know what I mean? Like, if you're rocking a $300 hoodie and you do that, you know, a $300 Clone X hoodie, everyone that's in the space knows that you have like an $11,000 NFT, right? Like, I don't, that's not really what moves me. But I certainly understand it. So let's check out exactly what RTFKT did. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing this for just a second, because what I got to do is I got to stop my screen share, and then I got to share just another thing. But what do you guys think? I'm actually really curious, of course, of what you guys think about this merch. You know, you've got this item NFT, and now I'm really curious. I don't actually totally know what the forging is, so we're going to find out together. Let's see. Let's share this. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull down the music for just a second, because this is going to have audio. All right, I'll just pause that for just a second. Let me know. I'm going to go full screen. I think we can see this. All right, let me know if you guys can hear this. If not, I'll start it over. All right, let's check this out.
Introducing the future of fashion. Artifact invented the world-merging forging mechanic, allowing its collectors to redeem exclusive physical products from NFTs. Today, Artifact takes forging to the next level with CloneX Forging. We have developed unique brands and bespoke fashion collections for each CloneX DNA, featuring footwear and apparel. Each brand will be accessible for CloneX holder based on the DNA of the clone they own. Each holder is able to mint up to 2 NFTs wearables items. The physical items will be redeemable during the forging event. The physicals will feature NFC tags connecting the virtual and physical worlds to your drip. Human, robot, angel, demon, reptile, undead, Murakami, alien, as well as the Genesis collection for all CloneX holders. Each clone is able to redeem one NFT from the Genesis collection. And the exclusive Murakami drip collection created with Takashi Murakami for all drip trait holders. How does the future work? The merging of digital and physical craftsmanship, next-gen fashion unlocked by your avatar. The future is now. Artifact.
All right, that's interesting. I thought the whoever they had to do the voiceover. I don't know, man. That's not. It's Murakami. Like, very odd voiceover, but I guess that's just a tidbit. I don't know. Let's see. Carrot says, yeah, merch is something that needs to flow from a strong community and brand. Doesn't even need to be a big community, but one where the buy-in is huge. Yeah, exactly. I agree completely. I always feel like it should be anything that you release, and it's not 100% because I don't think you can guarantee this kind of stuff, but I think you should at least try to have every single thing that you release in a brand should have a reason for existing beyond just the thing being the thing. And what I mean by that is what it seems like this is, and we'll read a little bit about it. Well, what it seems like this is like you say, hey, here's the NFT that you got, and you have, it's a demon trait or whatever it is. So because you have a demon trait, you have access to the demon collection, and because it has a Murakami trait, you can actually get a couple things from the Murakami collection. And that's cool, but that's an end. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're actually going like deeper. It's not circular. Like, okay, cool, but does that apparel do anything for me, right? If it's repping a brand, that's totally fine. I just don't know. For some reason, I don't know. For some reason, it just doesn't seem like it flows correctly. Like, I think it's a cool concept, but it doesn't. Maybe it's because of the price of the NFT. I don't know. It's something about it that hasn't hit me yet. With that said, I'm also talking. This is also coming from a guy that absolutely plans to do apparel, and it's going to be, having like awesome characters on it and stuff. But I just don't know. Maybe it's the price. I'm not sure. There's some. What do you guys think? There's something that's not hitting it for me, but I don't know why. Because I'm sure it's Nike. It's going to be great quality. It says 10 collections from the iconic Clone X DNAs. From caps to jackets and sneakers, you can unlock full digital and physical looks for your avatar via your DNA trait, collected via NFC tech, merging worlds to make it fully Fidigital. Please, can we get rid of Fidigital or Fidigital? Like, that's not a word. I refuse to use that as a word. Fidigital fashion collection. So basically what they're showing is by owning a human clone X with Murakami drip, a collector can mint up to 31 total items. All forgeable items, with the exception of socks and caps, will be equipped with NFC chips that you can link to your NFT. So the NFC chip is something that's going to be standard with NFT physical digital products. I've been talking to a company that does this, just research. It's really cool, like what you can do with it. It's really neat. So this thing has three traits, I guess, and so you can modify it. You can actually get like, oh, I see. So there's a standard collection that just says Clone X, and then there's human combined with Murakami. So you can get X number of things. Carrot says, I have a hoodie coming from a project shortly. I love the art and style. I want to wear it. The cost of the hoodie is probably worth as much as the NFT is now. That's awesome, right? Or I guess it's not awesome. I don't know if that's good or bad, but so I mean, I think that's it. Like, I understand how they're. Maybe it's the fact, like, there are plenty of projects that have apparel attached to it, and I've never thought twice about it. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, that's cool, that's awesome. maybe what's kind of sitting weird with me is that it's the apparel unlock that's tied to the NFT. Maybe because like, at least with this collection, like the Clone X is such a big collection and it did so well. Maybe it's the fact that this is kind of the utility that they're offering for it that's kind of a little weird to me. It just doesn't seem, maybe it just doesn't seem big enough for what it is. I think now maybe that's it, because I can honestly say, like, if this was like a regular brand, if this was, let me check that. If it wasn't Nike or RDFKT, if this was another recent project, if this was a project that we had interviewed on Evening Alpha, right? If there was a project on Evening Alpha and they launched with this, I would be like, dude, that is awesome, right? I'd be all over it, supporting it. So maybe it's just the discrepancy between the brand, because, you know, after you've made like over 150 million in sales, maybe there should be something a little bit more than that. Maybe this is too expected for something that big. They have a lookbook. Do you guys want to see the lookbook? We'll look at the lookbook in a minute. I did not do that. I got kicked out. Anyway, you guys can see me all right? Dusty, hit me up. The kid booted me out of the room. All right. I think it's back. I think we're good. We're still recording, so that's good. Yeah, it booted me out of it. That's the first. It booted me out. Let's see what we got. Let me share again. Willie says, if it's quality and feels one-on-one, it could be really good. If it feels and looks cheap, not so great. See, maybe that's it too. Maybe if it was like limited edition, it's just so not what it could be, and I don't know why. I just mean that I'm willing to personally buy merch for projects I connect with if I like what it's happening and not connected to the floor price. If I like it, I like it. Yeah, that I agree with 100%. That I totally see. So yeah, I mean, these are pretty cool. A Murakami shoe would be cool to own. I mean, those actually look pretty nice. Those are pretty cool. Gotta be real with that. That's actually pretty dope looking. I would never wear that in public though. Getting robbed. KG says I was rugging. Yeah, that's right. Peace out, everybody. Yeah, one to rock and one to stock. Each clone holder can mint up to 2 of each from the DNA collections and the Murakami drip. I mean, they're doing a great deal of publicity and branding, which is pretty cool. Hold on to your NFT, as you'll need to link the NFC once you receive the physicals. So they're going to tie it to know that, just so you can see that you claimed it. Let's see their sneakers, because this is Nike after all. Clone X, human, robot, undead, reptile, alien, demon, Murakami, alien, 2 alien, and another Murakami. That's pretty cool. Those are actually pretty cool. It reminds me of I keep wanting to say Bored Ape Yacht Club because it's on top of my head. But I've got a book right here. It's Bathing Ape. The other ape, Bathing Ape. That's pretty cool. But again, I don't know if I would, if it's pricey, I don't know. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you guys. I do think it's interesting that this is, oh, here we go. A step in the future. So now you guys tell me what you think about this. A step into the future. Imagine how those items could get you access to physical events, drops in the future, be interlinked together to unlock experiences, or be used to customize your avatar. Future is now, and we are all building it together. So you're actually going to be pushed. So if you have it, if you have the physical and the digital, you could actually get into events or get exclusive drops that could modify your avatar. That's interesting. Again, not for me. I straight up, no lie, full transparency, I love RTFKT. Like, I don't own anything by them. I screwed up and didn't. I had like after the Murakami drop, the Clone X drop, I went and I looked at the floor and I saw 2 Murakamis for like super cheap. And I was like, oh, I should get that. And I was like, I'll sleep on it. It was like midnight and I was just exhausted. And I was like, yeah, I'll sleep on it. I'll come back in the morning. And of course I came back in the morning and there were like several ETH deep. And I was like, okay, well, I missed it. So I would have bought it. I did consider buying them. So I do like that. I do like the project. And I do think this is probably the future of a lot of stuff. Like Bored Ape Yacht Club is absolutely going to have this stuff going on as well. Right? Probably with Adidas, if I had to guess. Awesome. So yeah, I think at least for this first article here, I definitely think the future is going to be have a lot to do with fashion. It's going to have a lot to do with tying fashion to the NFT that you own. I do understand if you have a big collection, like an apparel collection, and you wanted to tie it to specific NFTs, that way there are collectors out there that in order to get that special shoe, you know, that special kick, they're gonna go after and they're gonna buy that NFT, right? So I can, it's just not my personality, my personal Jones. So it's not something that I would do, but I do get that. I've seen it plenty, right? So I could totally see how like a sneakerhead would be like, holy shit, I have to have a full collection. So they're gonna go onto OpenSea and just pick up one of each, right? And start moving the floor so they can get the sneakers or they can get the apparel. So I do get that. I totally see that. And then of course there might even be an appreciation in the apparel because they're impossibly hard to get. Right? It's not that it's a $300 sneaker or whatever. It's that it's a $300 sneaker after you've spent however many thousands of dollars on, you know, most likely thousands of dollars on the NFT. So each one of those sneakers on a resale, or if you saw it in like a hip sneaker store in Shibuya or something, would probably be thousands of dollars or thousands of yen or something, right? You know, it's interesting. It's interesting. I do think there's going to be this weird blending of NFT technology and physicals. Maybe not so as extreme as what we think about and what we want to see. You know, tying it to apparel is certainly a smart thing in a first choice. What else we got? There was a couple other things. There were a few other things that happened today that I thought was interesting. The biggest news actually in the space today was this. So NFT collective Proof raises $50 million in funding round led by A16Z. So that's Andreessen Horowitz's that's their thing, A16Z. So the funds will help the company launch its latest Moonbirds NFT collection and a social platform for NFT collectors. So I don't know if they're going to mention this, but they raised $50 million, but they already raised, I think their sales are over 200 million. They've actually made, I don't know if they've made more than Bored Ape Yacht Club, but from a revenue standpoint, they're up there, man. They're either number one or number two. They've either beaten Bored Ape Yacht Club in terms of money earned. I think they might have. They're either number one or number two. So non-fungible token NFT collective Proof has raised $50 million in a Series A funding round as it gears up for the launch of its latest NFT collection. The company revealed during a live stream community event on Tuesday. This latest round was led by A16Z and included participation from 776, True Ventures, Collab and Currency, Flamingo DAO, SV Angel, and Vayner Fund. So Vayner Media back in it. It's great to have this vote of confidence from some of the most respected investors in Web3, as well as capital to keep delivering great products and services as we mature this business over the long term. said Proof CEO Kevin Rose in a press release. During Tuesday's event, the company released new details about Proof's third NFT collection, Moonbird Mythics, a 20,000 PFP collection slated to launch in early 2023. Moonbird's DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, will oversee licensing of the company's Moonbirds NFT brand, granting trademark rights and distributing funding to upcoming NFT projects. So they're going to start doing grants. I haven't watched. I actually have their video up here. I haven't watched it yet. I'll probably watch it after the show tonight. That's pretty interesting. They're moving to a 20,000 PFP collection, and they're going to be granting rights and funding for community projects. So this is something that I'm absolutely interested in. The ability for, if a project is doing well and the treasury is full, why not have a voting mechanism or a platform that allows for the community to pitch in and vote on which members of the community get to make products. Like, that's kind of the point. So I'm all for that. I think that's fantastic. Company's leadership also shared its progress on the upcoming launch of the Proof social platform. This I'm interested in. I don't know anything about this, but I'm fascinated by it, which will enable users to showcase their NFT collections and provide data-driven insights into the NFT industry. Proof also revealed plans to release an eponymous token, with more details to come sometime in 2023. When we do something, it should be uniquely our own, with real utility, something that will push what's possible in new and exciting directions, said Rose. Earlier this year, Proof's Moonbirds NFT project grabbed media headlines by hitting a record-setting trading volume. The collection of 10,000 PFPs clocked more than 200 million in sales, far outpacing Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club revenue. So they are number one. I will say that the difference, it's a little different. It's not a negative, and I think this is a fantastic thing. But there's a big difference between Azuki, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and Proof. Proof. So Kevin Rose has been around a long time. Like, that guy's been OG in the startup space. Like, when I was getting into the startup space in like 2008, 2010, he was already like a well-known name. So he's been around for a very long time, and he's super connected, all of which is done through hard work. So take nothing away from that dude. Like, he's grinded it out. He deserves everything he's getting. But that said, it's a little bit of I want to call a little bit just a drop of BS on the money to kind of say like, oh, well, Proof and Moonbirds has earned 200 million in sales, way more than Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club. Because Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club, the people who bought Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club are us, right? They're just like fans and collectors and retail investors, basically. Like, people who are like, that's cool, I love what you're doing, I want to buy it. And it was the hype and the fire that and the spark that it created that pushed both of those projects into the top 1%, right? Whatever you think about either of those projects, they got very, very hot very, very quickly, and they went to the top, financially speaking. Moonbirds and Proof have a little bit of a in that his whole network are venture capitalists and top-notch entrepreneurs, very wealthy people. That is not to say, again, I'm not taking anything away from Proof, and I'm not taking away from Moonbirds. They definitely put the work in, and they deserve their success. But it's a different. It's sort of like saying, it's a, how do I explain this? It's a different. A lot of the people that are in Proof and Moonbirds, it's just the investment class, right? If all your friends are bankers and you get them to buy into your project and your project makes a ton of money, you also can claim that you hit like Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? Again, I'm not throwing shade. It's just, I do want to give credit where credit is due, both to Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club, because that shit was grassroots, 100% grassroots. Nothing two ways about it. Those are both grassroots movements. Proof and Moonbirds had definitely had, while grassroots and while they did really well, and they deserve all the credit for being successful. I really think it's a great project. They did have a leg up. Again, it's not a negative, but I think it's worth mentioning if you're going to compare like 200 million in sales, far outpacing Azuki and Bored Ape Yacht Club. You're suggesting that it's more popular. It may just, but that's not necessarily true, right? It also might mean that one just has bigger purse strings. That's all I'm saying. What do you guys think? Yeah, let me know. I'm curious about that. Anyway, let's see. We got the Proof press release here. I wanted to see, they raised $50 million. I'm also fascinated by the amount these companies are raising, because if you know your startup history, companies that raise too much money burn out real fucking quick. Because if you raise $50 million, you are, the market is basically stating that they believe it worth. So at a $50 million Series A, they're telling the market that Proof is worth $500 million. In order for it to be considered a successful company through venture backing, it needs to be 10x. It needs to be Facebook, right? So $500 million is what they're saying that they think it's worth. And I guess I don't know what it. And this is a Todd thing. This is like on me. I'm like, why is it worth $50 million? I don't understand why Bored Ape raised $450 million. Like, that's fucking insane. Like, I think if anything destroys the company, it's going to be the fact that they raised too much money. Dusty says, I think Basie was much more organic. Yeah, that's what I was getting at, right? Like grassroots. Like Basie and Azuki too. Azuki was totally organic. And I'm not an Azuki holder. Kind of wish I was. But those were completely ground up. They just started and they took off. Proof had a slow start, but the people in that network are so pocketed that it doesn't take much. Like, the same people that own Proof NFTs, I promise you, are the same people that invested $50 million in their Series A. They are some of the same people. Not saying it's bad, but it's also not organic or grassroots. Carrot says, I think I can't afford any of them, but best of luck to them. That's all competitors in the space. Yeah, I guess you can say that they'll definitely be here. They're going to last through a bear market for sure. That's for sure. Carrot says, and I use competitors in a good way. As all of these big projects compete, it should hopefully continue to push the space forward. Oh, 100%. I agree with you, Carrots. I think it's a misnomer to think that competition or competitors are a negative. In fact, the way to have a successful startup, one of the things to look out for is to make sure that there are competitors in the space. One of the most dangerous things for a young entrepreneur to do is to think of something and then go out and do some basic research and say, oh my God, this is brilliant. No one's ever thought of this before. No one's doing this. Like, we're the only ones. We're the first ones to do it. That is super dangerous because when you go out there and you do that, sometimes there are reasons why no one has, you know what I mean? Like, is it that it's never been done before? If it's never been done before, why? Maybe somebody was smarter than you and looked at it and said, oh, this isn't going to work, and they bounced, or it's been tried before and you just don't know about it, right? Web3 is a little different, right? One of the reasons why we moved in with the graded cases, again, we kind of take the edge of like, no one's ever done it before, and certainly nobody has, but we didn't actually do anything. What we invented was the technology for it. But we didn't invent the space. Like, it's already there. Like, we know that casing and grading works because it's a $500 million industry. We just brought it into the NFT space, right? So you have to be careful with that a little bit. So let's look at this Web3 platform. During Future Proof, that was their live stream, the community learned more about the upcoming launch of a Proof social platform. The platform will connect users, enable community decision making, showcase collections, and provide valuable data-driven NFT insights. At the outset, the beta launch will enable Proof Collective, Moonbirds, and Oddities holders to create collector-curated galleries. The platform will integrate content and actions specific to the Proof ecosystem, including research reports, podcasts, DAO proposals, and more. This infrastructure will be the very heart of Proof and the center of its digital world. I certainly like the idea of making apps and making something the center of the universe for the project or for the company. Yeah, I mean, it's in this guy's, it's in Kevin's, it's in his DNA to launch apps. So I totally get that. That makes total sense. Let's see what. Here we go. Let's see what A16Z says. Let's actually get. He says, "We believe that the next generation of massive mainstream media franchises will be community owned and governed, and Proof is one of those companies demonstrating just that." Said Siram Krishnan, general partner at A16Z Crypto. Proof is an exciting combination of a seasoned team of founders building interesting technology and product experiences with a real focus on community. We couldn't be more excited to partner with Kevin, Justin, and the entire Proof team to help them develop into a leading Web3 company. Yeah, that's interesting. It's so much money, dude. Like Web 2.0 companies, oh man, like you have to go through so many hoops to raise that kind of money. I've got friends that have raised like 10, 20, 30 million dollars and in like a Series A. And to raise like 450 million or 50 million, it's such a heavy lift. It's such a heavy lift. They're also releasing something called Grails 2 and exclusive mints for Proof Collective. Proof supports artists and collectors. Future Proof celebrated the recent success of Grails 2, the second iteration of Proof's exclusive curated sale for Proof Collective members. The Proof team curated a collection of original artwork created by artists whose identities remain hidden until the post-mint live reveal. The NFT artists featured in Grails 1 and Grails 2 have achieved a combined 2 billion in total secondary sales volume. Oh, that's on their own. And a number of their works have been featured at Sotheby's and Christie's. To date, Proof's Grails 1 and 2 collections have garnered more than 8 million in secondary sales. Grail 2 includes work by Revkit, Anandal, Nyadia. I'm only not going to pronounce names because I really am horrible at it. Snowfro, great. Whose Grail 14 is now fetching 30 grand and 40 grand on the secondary market. Proof announced Grails will take place 3 times a year and shared plans for more member-only mints that will make Proof Collective a launchpad for outstanding artists, both established and emerging, to share their work. That's pretty cool. They're doing a lot of things right. And then they're doing a Proof token, which there's not a lot of information on just yet. But it is interesting. I think Proof, it definitely has the aura of an exclusive club, whereas I don't think Bored Ape Yacht Club does to me. Like Bored Ape definitely does on the Bored Ape NFT. But I think they really do have this is me just guessing, but it does seem like when they're starting to do like metaverses and bringing all this stuff in, like they really do seem to have a plan of bringing as many people into the fold as possible. You know what I mean? I think they're gonna bring in a lot more people. I think Proof is gonna stick to being like a super exclusive event. But it's interesting, right? Because you've got on one hand you've got RTFKT, and they're kind of getting this exclusive fashion label kind of thing going, where it's, to get this apparel, you have to be a member of this special group. And so it's really high on the exclusivity scale, because those shoes that you're going to buy for $300 are only available to you if you bought the $11,000 NFT, or if you just got in early and you just got lucky, or you did the right thing and bought the right thing at the right time. Otherwise, it's impossible. And proof is on the other end, but still exclusive, where everything they do is really locked down. Like their floors are so high. I think Moonbirds, I was looking, I think Moonbirds now is like 13 ETH or something. It's crazy. I mean, it's great for them. It's fantastic. But they kind of keep having these like locked in exclusive pieces. And those kind of start to spawn new pieces and new pieces, new pieces. And as all those floors go up, you create this really deep exclusive club. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I'm personally curious to see if there's something that can go the other way, right? And I know everyone wants their NFTs to go, and I'm not even talking about adult fantasy at all, but just in general, I'm curious over time to see if, while you have these NFT projects that go out there and the floor gets up to 60, and then their spawned second set goes to 15, and their third set goes to 6, and you know the launching of these NFTs expands the club, but the club is always exclusive because you have to pay an extraordinary amount of money to get in. I'm wondering if the same thing is able to happen or will happen at a much lower price point, meaning, hey, you can get into this club for a nominal fee, but still have reach the same value, right? Maybe the party's not at some of the same fancy ass, cocktail restaurant or whatever, the cocktail bar, but value shouldn't be. I don't think value depends on how much you pay for something, really, right? There is a correlation between how much you pay and how much you get out of something, but I do think you don't have to spend $70,000 to get a really good experience. I could be wrong, but I think that's fascinating. Let's see, is there anything else? So I've got one more thing for you guys tonight. And this is something that I saw on my feed, but I didn't really dive into because I just, didn't really have time. But new article came out a couple days ago, and I wanted to kind of run through it, see what you guys think. Let's pull it up. Here's what you need to know about the NFT creator royalty debate. So there was a debate going on Twitter a few days ago about creator royalties and whether they were good or bad. And I kind of missed the conversation because I just kind of keep my head down and work. But I wanted to go through this and actually read a little bit about it and see what people were talking about and see if there's anything interesting for us. Creator royalties have remained a prominent facet of the NFT market for years. Even in the early days of Web3 creative economy, artists of all creeds could sustain themselves through a mix of income from primary sales and kickbacks received via secondary market royalties. Yet while creator royalties seem crucial, they aren't hard-coded into the market, much less individual smart contracts. Creator royalties, sometimes called creator fees, are optional and only implemented to reserve a certain percentage of each secondary sale, peer-to-peer trades, which is sent back to the NFT's originator. Yet the truth is that creator royalties are optional, but still nearly impossible to avoid in the NFT space. This could be good or bad, depending on who you ask, since decentralized payments are facilitated by centralized means. Take OpenSea, we know the deal with OpenSea. They take, if an artist NFT sells in the secondary market on OpenSea, the platform itself receives the royalty via the transaction. It's only after that royalty is received that OpenSea in this situation acting as an intermediary sends the royalty payment to the artist. But arrangements like OpenSea's aren't the end-all be-all. The advent of services like Manifold could change that. With Manifold's royalty registry, this is actually something we're looking at. I haven't really had a chance to look at this, but this is a really interesting thing. It's now possible to add creator royalties to smart contracts that did not initially support them. This would effectively make it easier for marketplaces to use appropriate on-chain royalty configurations instead of the aforementioned centralized model. This is precisely why a debate around the necessity of creator royalties and the viability of continuing to be facilitated by intermediaries has been bubbling up recently, effectively dividing community yet again over the utility of NFTs. All right, let's find out what the big deal is, and maybe we can kind of skip. I don't want to have to read the whole freaking article to figure out what's going on. Let's see. What's the big deal? Until recently, creator royalties have been taken for granted within the NFT space. Similar to the concept of, say, tipping a waiter after a meal, creator royalties exist as a socially accepted process, but one through which creators can receive residuals from collectors every time their art is resold. This is a fantastic system for creators, but not necessarily for collectors. I don't know if that's true. Let's see. While it has become commonplace to pay both a platform fee and a creator fee when collecting an NFT, some collectors would rather not shell out an extra 5% on top of their already sizable transactions. Creator royalties mean that the individual who created a piece of art is rewarded in conjunction with collectors, but since some NFT price tags reach well over 1 million, we're talking more than 50,000 in fees alone paid by the collector. Okay, I have some strong feelings about that for sure. Let's see, but why wouldn't we want to pay creators for their work? Well, let's see, take X copy. The artist who originally sold pieces for a few $100s each now has a suite of works worth millions. But before he saw 7 figures from his primary sales, collectors trading his pieces peer-to-peer helped his catalog accrue value. The royalties received through the secondary sales likely helped sustain his career as he continued to create new art. But again, while creator royalties are a norm, they are only enforced through user agreements created by NFT marketplaces. Because of this and the differing opinions throughout the NFT ecosystem, creator royalties have lost favor with a portion of the NFT community. While we can't draw a direct line back to time, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's find out about people who are against it, and then I'll probably have something to say about it. The vast majority of NFT enthusiasts are in favor of creator royalties. Many have even taken to social media to defend this facet of the NFT ecosystem. But while artists and collectors are undoubtedly spearheading this debate, platforms like SudoSwap and NFT marketplace X2Y2 have emerged as the most prominent opponents of creator royalties. Interesting. I didn't know X2Y2 was opposed to it. Recently, SudoSwap announced the public release of its new marketplace protocol, one that comes with no support for creator royalties. How is this possible when so many other marketplaces have implemented royalties as a standard? Okay, well, they did it. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Yet while pseudo AMM is not great for creators, it remains popular with collectors. Right. Well, I know a lot of people have been going over to SudoSwap for big transactions. While platforms like SudoSwap are getting rid of creators' royalties altogether, others are allowing collectors to decide whether or not to send a kickback to artists. This is the philosophy of X2Y2, who recently announced that buyers on the platform would be empowered to choose the amount of royalties, if any, they would like to contribute to artists and prospects. All right, let's read this little thing and then I'll comment on it. Why it matters. Beyond the platform-specific examples of creator royalty opposition, a rift is forming in the NFT space, and much like the debate on whether art needs utility, it may simply come down to a question of morality. Simply put, NFTs don't come with built-in royalty splits. This is something that must be either offered or honored. Let's see, what do people say? I think the creator royalty argument is actually a lot simpler than people may make it out to be. There is zero way to force royalties technologically, so creators will have to build a collector base that want to honor these royalties. It's really that simple. Yeah, that's nice. While many have weighed in on the topic, people may have, okay, they're going to just quote people. As Dom Hoffman, co-founder of Vine and innovative NFT projects like Loot and Blitmap, put in a tweet, the discussion surrounding creator royalties is, quote, a boring mechanical debate and an interesting cultural one. It seems to ring true, since enforcing a mandatory creator fee is undoubtedly feasible, but again, calls into question the centrality of such an action. If collectors don't want to pay royalties to artists, should they have more than choice in the matter? Can the NFT space truly benefit for services? Okay. Long article, but I'm glad I read it. So what do you guys think? I want to pop in the chat. Let me know what you guys think about this. Here's what I think. Here's the deal. Throughout all of history, fine art is one of the only arts where the creator did not get a kickback, where the artist did not get to earn something from the work that they made on secondary. Music has royalties, acting has royalties, visual art does not. Because there were backroom deals. Traditional art was very hard to track, right? Music, you know how many plays there are in the radio. There are ways to track it. Acting, obviously, these things are tracked. You know, if you're an actor and you're in a commercial, you get residuals based on how many times your face is on screen or your voice is on screen or what have you. So it's all trackable. Art was not. I think two things. Artists, visual artists, specifically, visual artists being offered secondary sale royalties. The fact that they can get royalties is the number one draw for artists. If you take that away from them, NFTs are going to die for a long time, because it's one of the biggest draws. It is the aha moment for a lot of artists, including myself, right? Like, that was one of the very first things a couple years ago now, where I was like, wait, what? They figured out how to do royalties on secondary? You mean I could actually continue to get paid for the work that I did? Right? That's awesome. And there is a little bit of like, oh, woe is me. Your NFT now is worth $1 million and you don't want to give the artist 50 grand for making that happen? Fuck you. You know what I mean? Again, I'm an artist, so granted I am biased, but I don't have, a lot of this comes from people trying to bust the system and starting to move from, they didn't want to pay artists the royalties. So they started going to third-party trading sites and they started getting ripped off. And so their NFTs were getting stolen from them, and they're all like butthurt about it. Meanwhile, if they had just paid the damn fees, to pay the 2.5% to OpenSea, and actually helped the artist and the creators by paying them money, regardless of how much they've made. I don't care if that artist is worth 50 cents or $500 million. Like, if you're selling their work, and which is an assumption being that you're making a profit or not, whatever. But in most cases, you're flipping it up. Give the artist a cut. That is the tip. They are not. It isn't a fucking restaurant either. They're not waiters and waitresses, and it's not about tipping them what you think they're worth. Like it is a professional courtesy to say, "Yo, appreciate what you did. Here you go." And if you think the royalty is too much, then raise your sale price, right? Get the money. No one's saying you don't get the cash you think you're worth, or you think the piece is worth. But if it's 2% or 5% or 10% or 20%, whatever it is, either don't buy it if you don't want it, or say, well, you know, I got to give 10% to this person, so I'm just going to bump the price by 10%. It's really not that hard, right? Trying to work around artists because you don't want to give them their cut is real shitty, and it's just going to hurt the art. It's going to hurt the space. It's really simple. And I think People is awesome. I really appreciate his kind of like, hey, we're all in this together. Can't force it, which is true. You can't force it. People are going to go around it. You know, we know people are going to go around it. But that doesn't mean you don't try to do it right. And I also, while I do believe you want to build a collector base that want to honor those royalties, it's not just about that, because you're always going to have people who don't care about, they don't care about it, right? I mean, 99% of the, maybe not 99, 90%, 80%, like how much of the market right now is about flippers that don't give a shit about anything but like making cash? And there's nothing wrong with that, right? But you got to know where we are. What do you guys think? Willie D says, I think creators should get compensated fairly. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with it, dude. One of my, full disclosure, one of the first things I pitch to artists when I'm telling them about getting into NFTs the first thing that I tell them is about the royalty, about the secondary sale royalty, because most artists don't make a lot of money off their work. 99% of them. Go look at the statistics. Most professional artists who are doing art full-time make under $30,000 a year. Full-time, under 30K. So to not give them secondary sales or royalties, yeah, there's a lot of NFT artists that are making a fortune. How much were they making a year or two before they jumped into NFTs? Go ask them, right? They deserve, if their work is selling and it's getting large amounts, they deserve the royalty that it brings. They deserve it. Carrot says, if collectors don't want to pay royalties, they do have a choice in the matter. Don't buy it. Yeah, 100%. I would never say that greed isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in this case, it's a super bad thing. And the only reason there are people anti it is because people want to sell their Bored Ape, or they want to sell their CryptoPunk, and they don't want to give credit where credit's due. Although CryptoPunk, I don't even think has royalties. Jason, what's up, Jason? How you doing, brother? Jason agrees. Yeah, don't buy it. Like it's really not that complicated. KG says, but art has licensing royalties. Sometimes. There's been arguments about that too. But the problem with the licensing royalty is there are more cooks in the kitchen, right? So normally when you're getting an art royalty, like if someone owns a piece of mine, or let's just pick another artist. If someone owns a piece by a famous artist, the artist has the ability to say you can or cannot use that as a royalty. The artist certainly can say, hey, that's my copyright, and we're going to license it for shoes or dinnerware or something. But that should not negate the fact that artists can get paid on secondary. Like, even the top artists in the world, like, it's crazy, man. Like, you know, some of these guys, like Jeff Koons, when I was working with him, like his sketch for a sculpture, which was basically, we would sculpt, it would be a machine sculpted statue out of styrofoam, but it wasn't like the styrofoam you find in a cardboard box, like that packs your television or whatever. It was industrial grade styrofoam. It was like heavy as concrete. It was if it fell on you, it would kill you. Like, it was really heavy. And we would sculpt all this stuff out, and it was machine carved, and then we would paint it so that they could take it and ship it, both one so that the buyer could see it and kind of get a visual of what it was going to look like, and they would use it and they would ship it to, in this case, Germany, so that they kind of knew the colors and where things were going to go. That one piece, life size, was over $1 million. So even with that said, even with the amount of money that was spent on just manufacturing and producing a work, it's still crazy when you see it 5 or 10 years later and it's selling at auction for like 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 million dollars, $80 million, right? And you as the artist, or you as the creator, certainly, you know, while you might be wealthy, or, you know, at that level, you're not really worried necessarily about cash. It is a kind of a kick in the nuts, you know what I mean? To be like, wow, I might have made, you know, a couple $1 million on this, but that guy just made $80 million for flipping it, right? Granted, that's the biggest case, the biggest scenario. The more likely scenario is that the artist can't pay their rent, and is still living off of ramen after doing it professionally for several years. And you have people, and finally they had paid her with a piece or a series or a body of work that is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and now people don't want to give them royalties. It's terrifying. Jason says that's true, but it's not the same thing as getting a royalty on your secondary sale. Yeah, it's totally different. Still good though. Like, KG has a good point. Like, licensing royalties is good, but it's an additional thing, it's in addition to, not a replacement for, because you also can't guarantee licensing royalties, right? You can't, there's no, it takes a lot of work and special a special understanding of how licensing and branding works to go get licensing deals. Most artists don't have that, right? Most artists just sit in a room or sit in their studio and make work. Jason says, if your work is valued enough to be collected, you deserve a royalty on the secondary sales. I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. At least something. Now, we might be able to talk about what is good on royalty, like how much is too much, right? How much is too little? How much is too much? I think that's totally valid. But I mean, hell, in traditional art, the dealer, the gallerist takes 50%. So the artist makes the work, spends their time creating the work, does something brilliant enough to get collected and purchased or desired, creates desire, which is difficult. And the dealer is the one that finds the buyer, which is also a specialized skill. Because the dealer has the connections with the buyer and the collectors, the dealer gets about 50% of the sale, usually, right? Jason says, also, why in the hell would someone think that W and We Are Going to Make It doesn't include the artists, right? Weak artists going to make it. That's what it stands for. Dusty says, I also think that royalties can be important to increase the value of what you own. If it keeps the artist project funded so they can continue to build and provide value, how is that a bad thing? True. 100%, right? Like, I think that's a good point. Like, you don't want to forget about or deny the reciprocity and the excitement of what that can bring you, right? Like, if you're an artist and you're getting that second, all of a sudden you open up your MetaMask and you see that or you open your email and you've got that royalty come in, that's hugely inspiring. That's inspiring for you to keep making work. You know what I mean? It's absolute, and the more work that person makes, just the bigger they're going to get, and the more you're gonna celebrate. You know, the more it's going to help your collection in the long run by helping the artist get to where they need to be. That artist gets a bigger studio, or gets help making their work, or gets to buy the better paints and the better brushes, or gets to buy a nicer computer that actually can do the type of projects that they want to do. So you can't separate those. You can't separate those things, if that makes sense. Jason says, my artist friend really hates Jeff Koons. A lot of people hate Jeff Koons. Straight up, like, I wasn't a big fan until I actually worked there, until I worked with him. And then you realize that every single person that works there is top notch, is the best in class, and they're all in their own right phenomenal artists, sculptors, scientists. The dude is a master marketer. That's usually what people hate, because he has a persona that is just utterly so cornball that it just drives artists fucking nuts. But once you actually work there inside the studio, I would say that most people ended up getting a massive respect for the guy. With that said, there was also drama and certain things where you just roll your eyes and you're like, oh my God, this guy. But you can't deny that the guy has a Warholian level of ability to market and sell, right? And anyone that says his work isn't real art, has never seen it, touched it, made it, because it's not possible. You cannot make his work unless you are at that level. It is not possible. The amount of the materials, the skill, the amount of skilled labor he has on these pieces all over the world trying to sculpt these pieces. Some of these sculptures have taken single people decades to make because they're so complicated. NASA scientists on the team to figure out balancing and weight, inventing new processes that no one is ever going to know about. Absolutely interesting. Ray just says, missed a lot of discussion, going to have to rewatch. Yeah, absolutely. Check it out, Ray. Jason says, so is Thomas Kincaid, a master marketer. Yeah, Thomas Kincaid was really good too. Thomas Kincaid, that dude was actually from my hometown, or around Jacksonville. And there's a story But my friends, so we used to do so I went to an art high school, a magnet school. And so it was like Fame, if you remember that old show from the 70s. And one of the things that we used to do would be prints, like engraving prints. And you would take this, what was it? I can't remember the type of print it was. It wasn't a linotype. Maybe it was linotype. But basically, you just scrape out from a big rubber mat, you're scraping out the design, and you rub ink on it, and you're using it almost like a screen printing thing, and you're making prints. And some of them were really good. It was great. And but at the end of the year, what would happen is like a lot of the students would be like, nah, fuck it, I don't need this thing. And they would chuck the actual rubber template. They're just, whatever, it was dump it, not big. They had the art piece, it was great, it was high school. Well, one of our friends was in St. Augustine and walking around and found his shop, walked into a shop, and this was decades ago. I mean, he's not even alive anymore. But walked into a shop and saw a bunch of these prints that from our school, saw their friends' prints with his signature on it. And apparently he had actually gone into the dumpster of Douglas Anderson, my high school, gone to the dumpster and peeled out a bunch of the actual rubber plates and used them because they had been trashed, and then just resold them. That's a little different. Well, still funny. I mean, whatever, still funny. But yeah, in fact, outside of that story, there is a lot of similarity in the marketing. These guys just understand, you have to, in order to really make your shit, you got to be a marketer, man. There's some badass artists in the NFT space that are incredible marketers. It's just, you have to have it. You have to have at least, you don't have to be a genius marketer, but you have to at least be willing to go out there and hustle and talk to people and do everything. Right. I mean, one of the reasons why I love Evening Alpha so much and doing that, aside from making connections and meeting people, is that it's a great way to network. It's a great way. I mean, I can't say a lot of the stuff going on behind the scenes, but it's already bearing fruit. Right. You have to be willing to go out there and get it. And yeah, I highly recommend. I know Jason says, I guess that's true. Yeah, you're never going to get, there's so many artists that hate someone like a Jeff Koons, and I totally understand why. Like I said, before I worked with him, I thought his stuff was cheesy as fuck. And now I absolutely love it. I worked there, so I'm super biased. But I've got photos from behind the scenes. If you saw what it took to actually make that stuff and put it together, and the level of skill of the artists, the actual creators, the creatives, I should say, behind it, top notch, dude. And I would never knock those people, because those people are hardcore. Not saying everything is rosy. Those guys don't get paid enough at all, in my opinion. They should get paid way more. A lot of those people that are in the studio, that was their first job out of college, and they stayed there for 10 years or 20 years. they just stayed there. And so they don't have an understanding of marketing or payment, or what they could get. That was probably one of my biggest gripes, is I didn't think people were getting paid what they were worth. But I'm super biased as an artist. Anyway, guys, let's see. Jason says, perhaps that's the part I find so irksome about Kincaid, at least, is he appears to not have anything meaningful to say. Yeah. But it's he's a painter. It's different. He's a painter of light. They're also not the same tier, right? And that's one of those harder things about fine art. They're not the same level. Kincaid is a hardcore marketer. It was brilliant, and his market was Midwestern Christians. He was the painter of light, beautiful scenery, posters and T-shirts. He was really good at merchandising. Jeff Koons doesn't actually merchandise that much. He's the opposite. His stuff is hyper exclusive. There's only something what was the number? There's only a few dozen people on the planet that can actually buy his work, right? That's it. There's out of the studio, there's only a few dozen people that can actually afford to buy his work on the planet. It is take the Proof Collective or Bored Ape Yacht Club, and multiply it by 1,000, right? Where there's just like, forget 10,000 PFPs. There's like 3 PFPs and one assigned artist proof that he keeps, right? That's the ultimate level in exclusivity. It's just a different game. It's a completely different game. The pieces that he does that are partnerships for licensing deals, even those pieces are several $1,000s. They kind of feel like NFTs, where you want a balloon dog sculpture, like it's maybe like this big or something, to have it on your desk is going to cost you it's probably going to cost you like 10 grand, right? And there's like thousands of them, and they're going to cost you 10 grand each. Value of their labor. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for the amount of labor that they put in versus the value that comes out of it. Like, you're talking about maybe a team of like 100 artists and creatives and physicists and scientists and all kinds of crazy stuff that like create all together, have to figure out how to do the impossible, in part because Jeff doesn't necessarily know how to do some of this stuff. And that's not a knock. I mean, a lot of times you don't know how to do something until you do it, right? But it takes a massive team to say, okay, how the fuck are we going to do this? And then it takes years to figure out, years, to the point where they're like inventing technology to figure out how to do this. And then that art piece comes out, or that series comes out, and it sells out. It's already been sold. It's pre-sold, so it's already been bought. And then, so there's millions of dollars in value created for the company, for Jeff. Everybody gets paid. But that piece then ends up going for like hundreds, dozens and dozens of millions of dollars. And of course, there's no secondary on that, which is kind of what we were talking about. So Jeff doesn't get that, but of course, neither does the company. And because the company doesn't have any secondary royalty sales, it's the entire company is, all the payments to employees and to consultants and to artists are based off of primary sales. And while it's still millions of dollars, the people that are working there only get, they don't get what it's very, you would be surprised. I mean, we're talking to some of the most skilled labor out there, and most of them don't make that much more than minimum wage. Right? But it's full-time and you got benefits, right? Maybe if there were secondary sales, they would get paid more, but maybe that would also be the one criticism that I have of the Coons shop is that they could have pumped them more. They could have given the creators, the artists, a little more cash. A coffee maker would have been nice too. Carrot says, once you start wading into postmodernism and art, it all gets weird as well. Yeah, it's really, one of the interesting things is it's really similar to NFTs, man. It's really like the way NFTs flow, and you're like, why the fuck is that worth so many thousands of dollars? Like, how the hell did that pop and why? It's very similar. It's very similar. Jason says, Andrew making art. Yeah, for sure. It's a very weird feeling when you are sitting with a piece that, so I'll tell you one of my experiences. So, and I have photos of all this. So maybe I'll share that on stream. If you guys are interested, I'll share with you some behind the scenes, never before seen photos of the Jeff Koons studio. If you guys want, I have like the unauthorized. I spent a night. I was there working like overnight, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take some photos. And so I shouldn't be saying this. So I have some photos of like that I took of like the studio. It was awesome. But Jason says, "Oh, that would be dope." Awesome. All right, maybe I'll do that. But yeah, I mean, you're sitting there. One of the interesting things is like I had this experience where there was a series of lobsters, and it was like dolphin lobsters, and there's a whole big thing called Popeye. It's a series, and these pieces were awesome, and I loved them. I was like, these are so fucking good, and they were. So I had a piece that was hung in the Palace of Versailles, and it comes back, and we start working on more pieces. So I'm working on the lobsters, and you're sitting there working on stuff, and you're like, wow, I'm working on this piece. It was just hanging in a palace, like the fucking palace, right? Palace of Versailles. and you're sitting here on it. You got a coffee mug next to you. You've got your headphones on. You're sanding, you're grinding, you're painting, you're repainting, you're making it the way it needs to look to be flawless. So flawless that one speck of dust, no joke, this is not an exaggeration. If there was one, if you were what took it to the spray booth and there was one speck of dust, like one hair, one little piece of lint that was in the clear coat of the sculpture, the entire thing had to be scrapped, and that was like 6 or 7 months of work. So imagine doing 6 to 8 months of work, and then Jeff coming in and saying there's a hair right there, and all of a sudden you're just like just blasting it and just like melting off everything and starting over from scratch. Another 8 months, like perfection. These are perfect pieces. That's what I'm saying. Like there's a level of appreciation you can only have if you really get what's going on. Anyway, so you've got this thing that came from the Palace of Versailles. I'm working on it, and I'm sweating on it and cleaning it and coffee on it and dust and all this. And then I took a picture with one of them, like holding one, like, hey, how you doing? And then like the next thing you know, you're wrapping it up, and it's been bought, of course, and it's shipped. It's massive, and everything is wrapped up, and it takes like 10 people to put it in this box, and you pack it up, it's crated up. And in this case, it was shipped over. It was the Whitney Biennial was focusing on Jeff's work, and so it was, several floors, and so this was shipped over there for the exhibition. And you're sitting there, and you go to the exhibition, and it's basically like a sample of his entire history, right? It's like from the stuff he did in the 70s all the way, or in the 80s all the way up to present day. And so, of course, obviously, like most of that stuff I never had anything to do with. But all of a sudden, you go to one section, and I'm like, I worked on that piece, I did this piece, and it's hung, and you're looking at it, and I'm looking at it to make sure that everything is right, and that I'm not going to have to fucking repaint this stupid thing again. And you kind of come in a little too close, and then the security guard is just like, oh, be careful, don't touch, you're not allowed to touch. And I always got a kick out of when the security guard would come up and be like, no, man, it's cool, I painted that. And they'd be like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yeah, I did. And I'd start showing them pictures of me with all the pieces. They're like, no way. Security guards are the coolest people on fucking earth. Like art security guards, the best. But it's this weird thing where you're touching this thing, and the minute it leaves your hands, you're never able to touch it again. Like at least unless you're Jeff, I guess, but you're never, or you're installing it, right? Once you install the work, you're just not allowed to touch it. Like forget it. It just takes on this different aura all of a sudden, where it's like, oh, it's hanging now. That means I can't touch it, right? It was very interesting. It was a lot of fun. So Jason says that would be dope to see the photos. And Kara says for sure. All right, we could do that. You want to do that? We'll do maybe we'll schedule a tour of the Jeff Koons studio at the height of the studio. Yeah, I could do that. I can make that happen. That'd be a lot of fun. All right, we'll see what we can do with that. Awesome, guys. This has been great. Thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. It's been a minute since we've done sort of just a chill chat, hangout chat, and going through the news. He says, Jason says, what are your thoughts on curation as an art form? Oh man, curation as art form. It's definitely an art form. It's a lot harder than it looks, right? That's a deep topic, dude. Like, it takes a lot of work. I'll give you a personal example of curation as an art form. Adult Fantasy Season 1, and any drop we do, the amount of work behind the scenes to make sure. Well, think about it this way: all of those characters in Adult Fantasy Season 1 look and feel like they belong together, right? Like if you go and you were to download all of the characters so you could see all the clean pieces, and you put them up right next to each other, they all look like they're from the same universe at the same time, and the same like feel. They all gel together, and that's by design. There were tons, way more drawings and characters that didn't make the cut, and will never see the light of day because the sketch or the character put up next to the rest of them It just didn't fit. It didn't have the same vibe. You know, maybe it was too serious or too campy, or it was just kind of weird. It didn't work. So curation is definitely an art form, and it's kind of everything. It's a big part of things, and the key to curation is elimination. You have to learn what not to include. You have to learn that less is more. In fact, if you go to a museum or you go to an art show, turn of the century, last century, they used to have they used to hang up work in salon style. And I won't bore you to death with all this stuff, but they used to hang up work salon style, meaning it was like pictures everywhere, stacked all the way up the walls, pictures. And you would come in and it's just like, oh my God, there's work everywhere, like crazy. 20th century, when curation got big, it's the exact opposite now. You'll have a giant wall, 40-foot ceilings, 300 feet long, and there's 3 pieces on the wall. Why? Because when you're standing in front of it, if you're actually standing in front of something that big with such blank space, what happens is your blind spot can't see beyond the white space. And so you're forced to focus on the image in front of you. So you're just seeing this one art piece. You're not worried about this thing over here. You're not worried about this thing over there. You're just focused on this one thing. And so understanding the space in between the works is just as important as understanding what works to put on the wall or what works to put on your website. Right? Some artists take their artwork and they just throw all of it on their website, and it's too much. You look at it. You look at it less than if they had 7 pieces that represented everything. That was like the best. That's a good topic. We should talk about that some more at a later date. Great question, Jason. Thank you, man. All your questions tonight, bro. Really good. Appreciate that. Appreciate you. KG, good stuff, Todd. Awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, it had been a minute since we had done a chill. I want to do more chill streams. Want to hang out with you guys more, just kind of hang out and shoot the shit, and go through some of the news, man. Go through some of the other stuff, and just really like talk about all the stuff that's going on, because the stuff is changing so fast. You know, between like lives, between like evening alpha and the drops we got coming out, and just all the other stuff that I can't talk about. You know, I love you guys and I love hanging out with you guys. Jason says, thanks for your time. No, dude, thank you. Thank you for your time, man. Willie says, love the chill streams. Awesome. And if you guys like it, we'll do more of it, because I certainly love hanging out with you guys. Yeah, Willie D says it's been a minute. It had been a minute. Well, I wasn't sure. One of the challenges, I'll give you this. Dusty says, buy from the third wheel. Okay, Dusty, you're the only time you're a third wheel is when you're on this stream. Every other time you're like the first man. He's laughing in the green because that was the worst joke ever. Yeah, man. You know, one of the challenges, I was trying to do like new stuff every night, and the NFT space is just weird enough to like not actually have news every night. And there'd be some nights where I'm like, I don't know what to talk about because there's just nothing going on. But there is stuff going on every week. And so if we just come out, we chill out and we hang out. And honestly, man, maybe we bring some other stuff into it. Like, maybe we start bringing in some pop culture stuff, because NFTs are at a weird crossroads of tech and pop culture as well. So I'm down with talking about pop culture shit as well. If you guys are, up to you. Let me know. Honestly, hit me up in chat or hit me up in Discord. Like, let's talk. What do you guys want to see on Chillstream? Like more news stuff, just hanging out, stories, like whatever you guys want. I'm all ears, because I want to make it great for you guys. Jason says the point guard. Dusty, you're the point guard. He's rolling his eyes. As long as he's not a dancing egg with a shotgun, I'm okay. Because he's just a freaking beast on these stupid games. Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much. I love you all. You guys have been awesome as always. Thanks for hanging out with me on this Tuesday. Yeah, see you guys over in Discord. We'll chill out, and love you guys. See you next time. We'll definitely do chill stream again sometime soon. Okay, we'll make this a regular thing. All right, guys.